This is a quick rant on why ethics will never work unless average people get interested in morality, deontology, basically divine command theory and Kantian ethics. I've just picked those two out of the random things which I know. However, how do we know those laws/duties are good? For example, with the divine command theory, is what God commands good because God commands it, or because the thing which God commands is good? How do we know the duties are good? The only way with Christianity that they can say the duties are good is by saying because God says they are good. But how do we know God is good? Because God says He's good. But I can say I'm good, but that doesn't mean I'm good or bad. So that doesn't work. This one, consequences. I think it's teleology. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, sorry. But that's why I tend to call it consequentialist. Or consequentialism, or something like that. I just have those names for it. The problem is humans can't foresee the future. So that's a big problem for consequences. And humans don't even try to look into the future. For example, YOLO, you only live once. It used to mean achieve everything which you can, everything you want to achieve. Like, do you want to climb Mount Everest? Then do so, achieve that goal, because you only live once. However, now the internet's taken control over it, and it no longer means achieve your goals, it means do whatever you want. Because you only live once, therefore whatever you do doesn't matter. As long as you don't get chucked in prison, you're fine. That's the only thing. So YOLO was probably the worst thing to happen for morality in the normal people, for average people. Over the past 10 years, maybe. Motivism. That's basically, this is a comment on deontology and consequentialist. Yeah. That laws are good. For example, life is good, so hurrah for life. Murder ends life, therefore boo for life. And with the happiness one, that's for utilitarianism, which wants the greatest happiness for the greatest number. However, that does not really work at all, because we can't foresee the future again. So it doesn't work. And the last one on here, virtue theory, concerns itself with the improvement of the individual. Great. How do we improve without using laws or telos? So that gets rid of the virtues, because you can look at the virtues as just duty. Telos, eudaimonia. However, the eudaimonia for virtue theory is human flourishing. So you achieve the telos, which is human flourishing, by following the virtues. However, how do you know what the virtues are? Because of role models. For example, Dan Snow could be considered as virtuous, and he's a role model. He's there in the public eye. Therefore, he must be virtuous. But how did that person get virtuous? Because if he didn't have himself as a role model, as someone else. But then you just get into an infinite regress. And if you're gonna use the argument of it's the people in the public eye, Kim Kardashian's in the public eye, do you think she's moral? Well, she possibly is, but would you want to act like her? Probably not. And the society should not be able to change morals. A person from the Middle Ages should be moral no matter where they go, if they were a time traveller. So, the problem is with virtue theory is it's culturally relative. But then you just, and with that it means societies' morals are equivalent. Therefore you'd get like, let's pick Sparta for this. Courage was the main bigger up. If you are courageous, you are good. Okay, because of moral equivalency, Sparta is a moral place. Okay, good. Athens, same thing. Well, then again, Athens did have slavery, which isn't considered moral now, but moral equivalency, so Athens was moral. Okay, let's look at modern times. USA, yeah, moral equivalency, it's a culture, so equal. Okay, Germany, well, same. What happens if you go back to 1945? Oh, Nazi Germany. What do you do for that? It's a culture, and it's culturally relative, therefore the virtues change, and because it's morally equivalent, therefore Nazi Germany was moral. But it isn't. No one thinks that. Therefore, it's bogus. You can't have a moral equivalent thing and be able to judge. Because morals are morals. If the morals are different, therefore they are moral. And you are immoral for saying they are immoral. So, it doesn't work. Cultural relative morals don't work. So, virtue theory, no good. And plus, virtue theory is basically a mixture of deontology and consequentialism. However, I will just say one thing. One way for it to work. For ethics to work. One is to get philosophers and stuff like that to ignore ethics. Ethics is, I don't know who this quote's from, but ethics is for everyday people. It is how we live our lives. However, because a philosopher has hijacked it, people aren't interested in ethics anymore. For example, deontology, the philosopher just asked, why should we follow this meta-narrative instead of the other meta-narrative? And then you get into postmodernism where it's follow no meta-narrative, but then you don't have morals. Interesting. And this one, why should we have the consequence of happiness instead of the consequence of love, or something like that? So the philosopher has hijacked the debate and has made everyone disinterested. I will just say, I am a deontologist. I love deontology. Yeah. Mainly because I like Kant so much, even though a lot of his books are just, why are you doing this to me? That kind of thing. However, if the argument is good, then it doesn't matter what the way it was argued, what the person's character was like. Like, it doesn't matter. If it is good, it is good. Look at the argument, not the person, basically. Okay. However, there is one thing which I will say could get the average people into morality. And that's by asking a question. The question is 2 words long. What if? What if, I find, is the best saying in the English language. The reason why it's the best saying is it gets people to think. Okay, it's a telos. It's a consequence, but okay, you can still have some consequences in morality, and I don't mean big consequences, and I don't mean you should aim for this consequence either. What I'm talking about is a consequence of kind of, what if this happens? Would I want to live in that situation? Let's pick, for example, the Industrial Revolution. If only one person went, what if this gas we're releasing causes a major problem called global warming or something like that? That would be amazing if someone went like that, and you see that the current generation has to deal with the problems which previous generations have caused, and so on and so forth. It will always happen. However, if people actually ask, what if? Or would I want my children to live in this situation if I cause it, or something like that? Surely I should cause something which I would like to live in. Okay, it's emotivism, and it's a bit of telos as well. So yeah, it works. However, it doesn't take much. You won't need a degree in philosophy or ethics to actually think, is this good or not? You just ask yourself, would I want to live here? And so on and so forth. However, that is still a bit elitist as well, and because of people like to be on top, people like to be the top dog, the alpha male, if you want to use that term. Sorry I went like that. It's just that I remember in AS learning about Freud. Freud was mad. I am officially saying he was mad. Especially his conclusions. Especially with the Oedipus complex. Yeesh. Very strange. Sorry about that. Just needed to cough. So what if? That is the only way people can get interested, in my opinion. And as I was saying before, because people like to be on top of others, the alpha male, it means that, for example, in apartheid, the society who were on top would go, this is fine, I would like my kids to live above other people. However, the other society underneath would go, no, this is wrong, I want to either be on top or equal. So, this is how. A what if, however, that what if needs to be asked by everyone and treated equally. In others, it's quite democratic as well. Even though democracy doesn't really work because of bribes. And the problem is humans are corrupt and like bribes. So yeah, we're back to ethics will never work. And see you next time.